In this episode, we help a viewer choose a suitable vehicle to use for e-hailing.
We advise a viewer who wants to swap his VW Polo Vivo GT for a Renault Duster.
And we examine a Toyota Hilux with a bit of a drinking problem.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Guide, where we do our very best to provide you with useful advice, whether it relates to buying, selling or maintaining a vehicle. If you have a question for the team, you can send it to buyersguide@ignitiontv.co.za. And please include as much information as possible and send us a nice picture of yourself.
And joining us in studio to help answer some of those burning automotive questions are two familiar faces, Agya from Car Chic and Obi Mokaditwe from Eagle Ford. Welcome guys, nice to have you back with us.
Welcome back to the Madhouse.
Oh well, he said it. All right, let's get into our first question. It comes from Lebogang, a mum of two who currently drives a 2016 Audi A3 sedan, 1.4 TFSI SE manual. Ooh. She has a budget of 600,000 Rand and wants a car for a daily commute. In addition, she sometimes does longer drives of 300 kilometers or more. She's narrowed down her options to Mercedes-Benz A-Class sedan, VW Tiguan 2-litre TSI, wait for it Adam, DSG. And lastly, the Chery Tiggo 8 Pro. She plans on keeping the car for the next 7 years, like she did with the A3. Obi?
I just read the last bit, which is she wants to keep her car for 7 years, and I want to give the Chinese brands a chance here. The Chery Tiggo 8, 7-year 90,000 service plan, and a 10-year 1 million kilometer warranty on the first owner.
Yes,
so she has to get it new, and she can keep it for 7 years and drive it.
And that's it, done.
That's it. It solves a problem. She's got 2 kids, there's ample space. I mean, it's a 7-seater, so it's great for the family.
Yeah, and she's good. That's what I was thinking as well. But Agya, go ahead.
She didn't mention here, and it's also one of the Chinese brands, is the VW H6, which I also think fits in the budget. It's also a great car. If she wants to stay in the premium brand, she could look at a Q2. The only thing is, for 7 years, it's going to cost her the maintenance of that. I would stay away from the Merc. I don't think it's great to do. I prefer a higher car, so definitely an Haval, a Chery.
The one thing, the Haval and the Chery will fall into the sort of price bracket.
Yes, 100%.
You could buy, with the 600,000 Rand budget, a brand spanking new Chery. I think it will give you every single feature that you want. You will get more options. Yeah, more options than you will get from the other competitors.
Yep.
In terms of reliability, obviously the car's only been out for 2 years. Well, it's actually a year now, so we don't know long-term reliability of it. But I mean, the other cars I mentioned aren't exactly the most reliable cars in the world. So it's a little bit of a chance that you take it. Although, because it comes with a 5-year, 150,000 kilometer warranty, a 1 million kilometer warranty on the engine, you're getting a 1.6 litre turbocharged with a 7-speed gearbox. You're getting every modern gimmick that you can have, adaptive cruise control. You're going to have predictive braking. That is when, if you like, kids shut up, and you're not watching properly where you're going, the car will brake for you if you're going to drive into the car in front of you.
Just had a flashback there.
Yeah.
From my father.
He needed a good slap. But that's what I like about that car. It comes with, if you have to go and she mentioned a VW Tiguan TSI. Tiguan's a great car. Beautiful looking car, fantastic inside, lots of features in that. But spec that car to the same spec as that
Chinese vehicle,
Chery
the Tiguan
8, the one behind us. You are talking 900,000 Rand with all those features. So it's a great option. And I think in terms of, I know quite a few people who own these Chery Tiggo 8s. Zero issues with them. Reliability has been fantastic. The service they're getting from them, it's a really, really good option.
And
super car.
Agya mentioned the Haval H6.
Yeah.
I have a client who traded in his BMW X5, went and bought the Haval H6, happy as a pig in a blanket.
Yeah, the one thing I like about the Tiggo Pros to the Haval is it's a 7-seater. So, like you've got 2 kids.
Yes.
You got 1 kid. I'm sure he brings his mates, right? Every now and then you've got 5 kids in your
100%.
car.
And then she's got to go borrow the Prado.
So now if you need to bring in their mates with, you can fold the back seats up. If you don't, you've got that boot space, which is always useful. And it's a much higher car, and it's supremely quiet and supremely comfortable. I honestly think it actually drives better than some of its European counterparts.
And I like what Obi said. Let's give the Chinese cars a chance. And I think this is more than just giving them a chance.
Well, actually,
I think
they've come and gone, so let's give them another chance.
Give them another chance, yes. You know? But I really, really like the Tiggo Pro 8. And it's, you know, it's an awesome car. And if that's where you want to spend your money, you won't be going wrong.
In its price segment,
Yeah.
it's most probably the best value for money car that you can buy nowadays in that segment. Okay, right, we're going to move on. We've told you what to buy, go and do it. Seppo wants to get into a vehicle under 100,000 Rand. Are there cars that are cheap?
Yeah.
The vehicle will mainly be used for e-hailing services and should last for at least 2 to 3 years. It should also be dependable and easy to maintain. What would we suggest? Obi, let's start with you.
It's
Under 100 grand, what do you buy?
look. There's a whole lot of cars under the 100,000 Rand mark. My only issue is the requirements for e-hailing services. It's got to be a car that's, I think, less than 8 years old, or they've got their own requirements.
air conditioning, electric windows.
What do you get in that 100,000? You know, I had a look to see what was out there, and I could only find like a 2012 Corolla 1.3, and going for 99,000 Rand. But again, it had like 200,000 Ks on the clock. What are you buying?
100%.
You know, I don't know. It's a difficult one, really. But 100,000 Ks, you've got to be very careful what you're getting, because it's someone's problem.
Well, I think you make a very good point. Besides the car, you've got to have a look at the e-hailing service that you're going to be subscribing to, and what are their criteria. They may say to you, your vehicle needs to be a sedan vehicle. It needs to have less than 100,000 kilometers on it. It's got to be less than, like you mentioned, 8 years. But if the criteria is you can drive any piece of junk you want, that's a different story. Chaya, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think it depends, as well as we've all said, on the conditions of the e-hailing. But I have seen something like Uber has different options. Uber X you get picked up in quite a small car, and something like a Suzuki S-Presso, you could get a 2022. So a manual comes with a service plan. That's something I would look at depending on the e-hailing service he's looking at. It comes with the aircon, electric windows in the front. I would say, and it would be reliable. It would still actually be in its service plan. You would still have a service plan and the warranty.
Or you could go and buy something like a Toyota Agya.
Yeah. Agya, you could get an Agya.
The Agya, the Agya, you know, which is tiny.
I'm just saying, because you can. It depends what the e-hailing service, because they are doing it. I've seen numerous small cars using them for Ubers.
Yeah, the Uber Goes and things.
Yeah, so it depends on his criteria.
There's so many different e-hailing services now.
It's hard to
I've
tell.
lost count of them. We just mentioned one, but definitely, you know, and it's very important that you. Okay, I want to open an e-hailing. I'm going to get a car and I'm going to make money. Great idea. That entrepreneurship of yours, get going. Fantastic. But before you go out and buy the car, then go to the e-hailing service and say, sign me up. They may say, sorry, dude, you need to buy yourself something else. Go and check that, look at the criteria, and then move on from there.
Because like Obi said, if the criteria is a sedan, has to be 4-door, and a certain engine capacity size they might want as well. You're not going to get.
You're not.
You're not for 100 grand.
And it's not going to be reliable.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, stay tuned, because after the break, the Renault Duster and Nissan Qashqai go head to head.
And we found out if a Land Rover Discovery is a good used SUV buy. You're watching Buyer's Guide. Thank you for tuning in. Gerrit is the proud owner of a 2019 VW Polo Vivo GT. It's only got 65,000 kilometers on it, and he's the owner for 6 months. He recently saw a Renault Duster, and he really likes the tough look of the vehicle. He wants to know if it's a good idea to swap the Vivo for the Duster. He currently pays 5,300 Rand a month, excluding insurance, and the Vivo, he'd prefer not to spend more than that, or should he just be a swap? He's also open to the Nissan Qashqai. He says he's only had the Polo Vivo for 6 months.
And he's a proud owner, so he's going to carry on being a proud owner because he cannot just swap. You can't just swap a car.
But maybe he put a 50% deposit down.
Well, then he may have, but he may. Well, if he has, but he wouldn't be paying 5,300 a month if he did. So from what he's told us, he's financing the car, he's paying 5,300 a month. You're going to carry on being a proud owner. You cannot just swap. You're in a contract. It's financially not viable. He's not going to be able to pay that because he's going to have a shortfall.
So when you say a shortfall, that means he owes the bank more than his car.
Yes, exactly, because he hasn't paid enough of the interest on this contract.
Gerrit's problem is he didn't send this question in
Before he
6
bought
months
the
ago and said,
Vivo.
I don't know if I should buy a Vivo or a Duster. What do you agree with our young lady?
I agree 110%.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's inspired by the picture behind us, which is the Duster.
Yeah.
But no, you keep your vehicle. Like you're saying, he's only paid 6 months worth of it. You're still paying interest all the way. And just keep your car. It's a no-brainer.
So, I mean, he says he's paying 5,300 a month. I think the best thing here to do would be to really work out, if you can afford it, if you can do it, is you see what you owe the bank. And you say to the bank, how much do I owe you if I settle you today? And they say, you owe us, let's say, 200,000 rand. Cool. How much can I get for the car? You can get 150 for the car. So that means, as Agya says, you have a shortfall of 50,000. If they can give you 300,000 rand for that car and you've got 100,000 equity in it, that's cool. Then you can take that as a deposit on the Duster. But it all depends on those financials. You can't just like, okay, I want the Duster, take my Vivo or whatever, because the Duster is most probably a more expensive car than especially the Polo.
And like Agya says, there's no quick swap out.
Yeah,
It's a whole new contract.
So it's not like just taking your blue jacket off and putting a pink jacket on.
exactly.
No, you can't just do that.
We can't do that.
But hey, it's not impossible though.
Nothing's impossible.
From a dealer's point of view, we can make it happen. But your installment's going to be affected.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be 5.3.
Yeah.
It's going to be way more than 5.3 because they're going to load the Duster
That's it.
with the shortfall.
So you're paying way too much for the car in the first place. And then what happens in 5 years' time, where you're now seeing another car that you prefer to the Duster, and time to tell the Duster, your Duster's worth 200,000 rand and you owe 300,000 rand. So that's the problem. So it looks like it's going to be a hassle. It's very important when buying a car to make sure you've checked all the other competitors, the other kinds of vehicles that you need. You send buyer's guide a question, you get some advice, and then you look at the finance sides of things. How much they're going to pay now, how much they're going to get for the car, and what is it going to cost me to get the new car.
And some financial advice
Is
from in-house guru Adam
don't
Ford.
get it from a mechanic.
Okay, Temin Kosi hails from KZN and is a huge fan of the Land Rover Discovery. He's had his eye on a 2017 model with about 100,000 kilometers on the clock. With a budget of 650,000 rand, he wants to know if he'd be able to get a decent one. He intends to keep the car as long as possible, and he also has two other paid-up vehicles, a VW Polo Vivo 1.6 and a Mazda 3 individual.
Oh, that's
Okay,
a
firstly, I don't know how he's kept that Polo for so long, but good luck there.
Oh, that's good.
And Agya, what do you think about the Discovery?
I think I don't recommend it because of the mileage. A 2017, 100,000 kilometers. It's going to cost him. He wants to keep it. He has no intention of selling it. The maintenance on that car is going to cost
A
him.
bit more than a Polo Vivo or a Mazda 3.
No,
Put
he
together.
a bit more.
A bit more than those other two cars.
So it wouldn't be. I wouldn't advise the client, if he wants a Land Rover, he must buy a newer one with a maintenance plan. The Toyota Prado is a great car. I'm sure he can find a used car. He can definitely 600,000, and those cars go forever. So you'll get the SUV.
I don't have an issue with the Land Rover.
I
maybe
do.
because
I do.
Maybe because I own one, but still. I would
What's the
say
mileage on your Land
so
Rover?
150,000. And it's still going.
And who does the maintenance?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Who does the maintenance?
And it's cost.
Remember something like this, 100,000 kilometers is 2017 model. That means it's been serviced because it comes with a 5-year warranty.
Yeah.
If it would have been with Land Rover for its whole period of time. You can get the service record for it. I
Yes.
agree with you. The maintenance costs, it's $1.5 million new. It's a great car, but you're not paying like you would send your Vivo in for a service and it's 2,000-3,000 rand. That is just the brake pads on the Land Rover before you even fit them.
And that's the front pads
So
or
you
the
gotta
rear
understand
pads.
the
only,
maintenance cost.
Yeah,
You will find a decent one, but you're 100% right. Maintenance costs are high. Obi, I'm rambling on again. You tell us.
So, for Tembinkosi, I really have to go with you. I love the car. I think it's a lovely vehicle. Again, when it's well looked after, it's got a full service history, and you kind of know the owner. Lovely vehicle, but then again, cost of ownership is hectic on these vehicles. You have to get a warranty. You have to make sure that you do your homework on it. Make sure that you know the dealer where it was serviced. Get an AA report before you actually go buy it.
Okay, let's shock Temin Kosi. One shock on that vehicle is 20 grand.
It's shocking. Yeah.
So, exactly.
shocking.
One shock there is really
Yeah.
shocking. So, if you're looking at a car out of warranty, have to go with Agya
Prado.
with a recommendation that I'll go for a Prado. 200,000 Ks in a Prado, as Adam often points out, the thing's just running.
It's a,
You know,
it's a 4x4 Camry. It's boring.
I'm not worried about boring. Boring doesn't cost me 20 grand a shock.
I'm with you. It's a great car,
know?
but it does not compete with the Land Rover. The Land Rover is, as Obi says, it's a beautiful, fantastic car. to
No, it
drive.
is. I agree with you on that. It's a beautiful, fantastic
Buy
car.
the car, and I'll tell you how to go about it. You go, if you look at a car like that, you find out who maintained it, as Obi says. You go to the dealer, you phone them up, and you say, this is the VIN number of the vehicle, which you can take off the license disc, just take a picture of it, and say, please send me the history of the vehicle. You will see if it's a good one or bad one, because if it was a bad one, it'll have a long list of problems. Find one that's got a short list of just had its
Problems?
services,
Problems.
had its issues.
Find one with a short list of problems.
They are not
I agree
known-
with Sagi. I'm sorry. I'm going
They're
to
not
agree
known
to
to be
disagree here.
ultra reliable,
Yeah.
but if you take them to the correct place and you shorten the service intervals and you look after the vehicle, you can have a great vehicle. And as Obi said as well, you buy yourself an aftermarket warranty for it, you get a good one. It's going to cost you money, but it's not going to be as cheap as your Polo or your Mazda. Sometimes it's about enjoyment. If you can afford to pay it, so what? You're having enjoyment in the car. Any big premium, maybe a BMW X5, maybe
Yes.
a Range Rover,
ML.
could be a Mercedes AML, or it could be a Q7 or anything along these lines.
Yeah.
These are, when they were bought, they were very expensive. Now they become affordable to people. You're not paying the maintenance on a 650,000 rand car. You're paying maintenance for a 1.5 million rand car.
100%.
When you want tires, it's 20,000 rand.
Per tire.
No, man.
Per tire.
Where do you do your shopping?
At the same place Adam does.
Yeah, so, you've got to take that into consideration. Okay. After the break, when we return, we examine the fuel consumption on a high mileage Toyota Hilux.
Products from Germany and America go head to head. Welcome back to Buyer's Guide. Godfrey wants advice on his beloved 2010 Toyota Hilux Legend 40, 3-litre D4D, auto with 320,000 kilometers on the clock. He has had the vehicle for about 2 years and has not missed a single service. However, the car gives an unimpressive 500 kilometers per tank on the highway and even less around town. He was advised by the dealer to change the injectors, and he'd like to know if he can have them reconditioned or should he buy brand new injectors. He also intends on servicing the gearbox, so he needs some clarity on the service intervals, considering the age of the vehicle. Okay, Agya, you have some theory on this?
He can recondition those injectors, but only if he discusses it and takes the car to a mechanic. I would tell him to phone Sagi. Sagi will tell him if he can recondition them or if he must buy new ones. I'm sure Adam will tell him as well. So, and they'll advise him as well on servicing that gearbox. So, hand it back to our host.
Phone a friend.
Phone a friend. I'm phoning these two. These are the
Second,
friends.
I would both say 500 kilometers on a Hilux 4x4 is about average. It's
Yes.
not wrong at all.
It's- yeah.
And when he says service the gearbox, I'm assuming it's automatic. I
Yeah.
think he did say it was
He
Right.
did say
Automatic.
automatic, yeah.
automatic. So now you've got an automatic big 4x4 doing 500 Ks on a
On a tank,
That
you
is
should be
normal
happy.
and average for that car.
At 320,000 kilometers, you're probably getting like 100 kilometers less than you did when it was brand new.
So go and service the injectors. Fine, you can do
Yes.
this. That will set you back approximately
About a
10
grand
to
an injector?
15,000 rand to do all 4 injectors together. That is a lot of diesel.
Diesel, yeah.
Guys, diesel. Don't put.
Well, you're talking about fully reconditioned
Yeah.
injectors.
So if you buy new ones, you're talking 50,000 rand. So don't even bother with that. I would say the only time you need to recondition your injectors if you're starting to see clouds of smoke or the car's not running properly. I've seen these injectors easy do 500,000 Ks. In terms, yeah.
What he can do if he's really worried is just take him off, take him to a reputable diesel place, and they can test the injectors for him.
But you and I both know you take any injector to a diesel,
it needs to get done.
it'll get
You need to recondition,
take a
yeah.
new one. They'll tell you recondition.
Recondition, yeah.
So the fuel consumption is more than average. If there was a little bit of wear on these injectors and they did recondition them and you're going to spend, as I say, 10, 15,000 rand on doing them, you're going to get 550 Ks out of your
Or
tank.
600 if you're really careful.
So I wouldn't even bother about it. What I would do is leave it like that. Maybe you can buy yourself a good set of a good bottle of injector cleaner.
Toss it in the tank.
Throw it in the tank once every 6 months. That helps keep all the injectors clean in that.
This is
Then
why
onto
we
your gearbox. I would certainly say definitely have the oil and filter changed on the gearbox. You should do that on a vehicle like that, especially a 4x4, because it gets driven most probably off-road and it takes a lot of heat on the gearbox. Change the oil every 60 to 100,000 kilometers. You know, it depends on the kind of driving
And
you're
if he's
doing
doing towing and things like that, I'd suggest 60.
Definitely. If you're doing a lot of open road and not so much stop-start driving, you can push it to 100,000. It's most probably going to set you back 2,000 to 3,000 rand to do that. And if you consider that's every 3 to 5 years, it's nothing. It will improve the gear change of your car, and it will make the car run a lot
And
better.
less wear and tear on the
Definitely
internals.
do it.
Yeah.
Now that we've established that there's nothing you can do,
Untoward,
then you can do with unimpressive 500 kilometers per tank. Can I suggest that Godfrey come and see me and we put him in a Ranger?
Yeah, because you'll get 560 out of a case.
Yeah, you get 560 kilometers out of a 4x4
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a Ranger. Look,
Ranger, Ford Ranger.
definitely. But, you know, he's a Toyota fan.
No, he is.
It's a good try, though.
Good try.
Well done.
Bonga hails from KZN and is not so proud owner of an Audi A4 2013 B8.5 1.8 turbo. Wow, all these numbers. The vehicle has a coolant and overheating issue and suffers from power loss on the uphills. Well, it's an Audi. He has had enough and he's considering selling the vehicle. He has a budget between 150 and 250,000 rand. He wants to know what would be a good replacement between a 2015 VW Jetta or the Ford Fusion. Mr. Ford,
So
what do you think, Obi?
he must stop considering it and actually do it. Both vehicles, the Jetta and the Ford Fusion, great vehicles.
And the thing with the Ford Fusion, it's exceptional value for money, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I remember getting when the Fusion came out, I had the diesel version on test, and I was very, very impressed with it. But it was on the market for about a year, and then I'd like to find that guy at Ford, whoever decided that, you know what, we won't make sedans anymore, we won't make cars anymore. I'd like to go there and grab him and punch him in the face a couple of times, because they were starting to come out with really good cars.
Yeah.
The Fusion was one of those, such an underrated car.
Yeah.
My concern about the Fusion, well, as
your
much as I like
confusion?
the car, the confusion with the Fusion is that, like any car that's limited in terms of its numbers, doesn't matter what it is,
parts.
they only sell 200-300 of them. If you want parts, like we mentioned, I think on a previous show we were talking about a Kia. What was it? Optima.
Optima, yeah.
The same sort of problem. You know, can you get the parts for it? Yes, but only from Ford. Now you're in the middle of the boondocks. There's a lot of Ford dealers, but they won't even keep it because down in the Karoo, what is this car? We've never seen this thing before. So I would say go and buy the Jetta or go and buy yourself a Toyota Corolla.
Yeah. Buy yourself
Buy a Corolla. They are fantastic cars. It's a sedan. You'll keep it for, you know.
Kaya, what's your
years.
take on
Yeah,
this?
I agree. He must sell the car. It's not even, he shouldn't consider, he must do it today.
Yeah.
Sell the Audi, the Jetta. I think the Jetta is a better choice. I would take the Jetta over the Ford Fusion. And then just for the Corolla, just insurance as well. The risk of theft is something. Although it's a great car, we have to bring it up. Although, yeah, I think it'd be safe in a Jetta.
The one other car, I know it's getting on a bit old in time, but in that 150 to 200,000 rand. Mazda 3.
Yeah.
Wow, if you can find a Mazda 3 sedan, and I'm sure you'll find previous gen in that sort of,
In that price range.
you're going to, again, get a really good thing. And if you want
You
to
know-
just downgrade a little bit, look at something like a Suzuki Ciaz.
Yeah.
A 1.4 Ciaz. It's not a premium brand, but you know what? I would rather drive a non-premium brand car without the bells
Well,
and whistles
if we're heading down this
and
way,
have money in my bank account than buy something
if
premium.
we're heading down this way, I want to go for a Honda Civic then as well.
Well, there's another
Yes.
one.
The 1.8 liter sedan.
Yeah.
You get an awesome car, good for 500,000 kilometers.
It's got lots of options in this
Lots of
category. Yeah,
options.
he
Yeah.
needs to get rid of the car he's driving, though. We all agree.
And with that, we've come to the end of this week's show. Thank you, Kaya and Obi, for joining us and all your helpful tips as usual.
All right, until next time, please back it up, drive safely on the roads, and stay out of the emergency lane.